The moment Patrick Mahomes faced the unexpected storm, the internet had already made up its mind before Patrick Mahomes even had a chance to respond. One photo, one off-season moment, one wave of criticism that exploded across social media, and suddenly one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history was being judged for something that had nothing to do with throwing touchdowns, winning championships, or leading a team under pressure. Patrick Mahomes, the face of the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, the quarterback who changed the way the NFL views the position, found himself at the center of a conversation nobody expected. Fans were debating his appearance, analysts were discussing his offseason shape, and social media turned a simple image into a nationwide argument. But behind the headlines was a much bigger question. Why does the world expect elite athletes to look perfect every second of their lives? For years, Mahomes has been held to a different standard. He is not just another NFL player. He is the quarterback who arrived in Kansas City and transformed the entire franchise. He became a Super Bowl champion, a league MVP, and the leader of a new era in football. Every throw, every celebration, and every mistake has been magnified because greatness brings attention from everywhere. Yet when the season ends, even legends need time to recover. The NFL season is a brutal physical battle. Quarterbacks take hits, study thousands of plays, travel across the country, and carry the expectations of millions of fans. The offseason is the one period where players can step away from the constant pressure and focus on family, recovery, and preparation. But in today's world, cameras never stop. Social media never sleeps. A player can dominate on Sunday and still become a trending topic on Monday because of a single picture. That is exactly what happened with Mahomes. Some fans defended him immediately, arguing that championships are won on the field, not through internet opinions. Others questioned whether a quarterback competing for more titles should maintain a different level of conditioning. The debate became bigger than Mahomes himself. It became a discussion about how society treats athletes, especially superstars. Because when you become the standard, every detail becomes a story. Mahomes has spent his career proving doubters wrong. Coming out of Texas Tech, some questioned whether his unconventional style could succeed in the NFL. Some wondered if his creativity would survive against elite defenses. But year after year, he answered those questions with performances that placed him among football's greatest players. Now the conversation was completely different. It was no longer about his arm strength, his football IQ, or his leadership. It was about perception, and that created one of the most fascinating storylines surrounding an NFL superstar. Can a player be human while still being considered legendary? Can an athlete enjoy life outside the season without losing the respect of fans? And most importantly, will this criticism motivate Patrick Mahomes once the next NFL season begins? Because history has shown one thing about Mahomes. When people doubt him, he usually finds a way to respond. Before we continue breaking down this shocking situation and what it means for Mahomes, the Chiefs, and the future of the NFL, tell us where you are watching from right now. Are you supporting Patrick Mahomes? Or do you think the criticism is fair? Comment your city or country below. And if you believe this story deserves more attention, press 1 to support Mahomes and 2 if you think fans have a point. Don't forget to subscribe for more NFL news, stories, and the biggest moments happening around the league. The price of greatness in the NFL spotlight. For Patrick Mahomes, being one of the biggest names in football has always come with a hidden cost. The same spotlight that celebrates his victories also magnifies every small detail of his life. Every touchdown becomes a headline. Every mistake becomes a debate. And now, even an off-season photo has become a national conversation. That is the reality of becoming an NFL superstar. When Mahomes entered the league, nobody expected the young quarterback from Texas Tech to completely change the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. Before him, Kansas City had years of frustration, unforgettable playoff disappointments, and a championship drought that lasted for decades. Then Mahomes arrived. With his incredible arm strength, unpredictable creativity, and fearless mentality, he turned impossible plays into normal moments. He made defenders look confused, forced coaches to rewrite strategies, and gave Chiefs fans something they had been waiting generations to experience. But success changes everything. When a player wins one championship, fans celebrate. When a player wins multiple championships and starts being compared with legends, the expectations become almost impossible. People stop seeing the person and start seeing a symbol of perfection. That is where the criticism around Mahomes becomes interesting. Many fans who questioned his offseason appearance were not necessarily questioning his ability. Instead, they were debating whether the face of an NFL dynasty should always represent the highest physical standard. In professional sports, especially football, preparation matters. Every percentage point can decide the difference between winning and losing. But there is another side to the story. Football players are not machines. They are human beings who experience exhaustion, injuries, family responsibilities, and the mental pressure that comes with competing at the highest level. The offseason exists because even elite athletes need recovery. The conversation surrounding Mahomes also reveals something deeper about modern sports culture. Social media has created a world where athletes are constantly judged beyond their performance. Fans analyze their clothing, their vacations, their families, and even moments when they are simply living normal lives. For a player like Mahomes, there is no true escape from public attention. Every camera can create a story. Every comment can create a controversy. Every decision can become a debate. But the most fascinating part of this entire situation is that Mahomes has built his career on responding when people doubt him. When critics questioned whether he could succeed in the NFL, he answered with MVP awards. When people doubted whether Kansas City could become a dynasty, he delivered championships. When defenses tried to stop him, he created new ways to win. The question now is whether this latest wave of criticism will become another chapter in his motivation, because history shows that elite competitors often use outside noise as fuel. The NFL season is not one in the comments section. It is one on the field, under pressure, when every decision matters and every opponent is trying to take away your greatness. And when Patrick Mahomes steps back onto that field, millions of people will be watching not because of an offseason photo, but because they want to see whether one of football's greatest players can continue building his legacy. The criticism may disappear, the debates may fade, but the pressure of being Patrick Mahomes will always remain. The debate that revealed how fans see NFL superstars. The conversation surrounding Patrick Mahomes was never just about a photo. It became a reflection of how fans view greatness in the modern NFL. For decades, football fans have admired athletes for their performance. The touchdowns, the victories, the championships, and the unforgettable moments are what create legends. But today, the relationship between athletes and fans has changed. Social media has created a world where every part of a player's life can become part of the discussion. For Mahomes, that reality arrived faster than most. A quarterback who had spent years dominating headlines for his incredible performances suddenly found himself trending for a completely different reason. Instead of talking about his ability to read defenses, his leadership during playoff runs, or his ability to create impossible throws, people were debating his appearance during the offseason, and that created a complicated conversation. Some fans argued that criticism was unfair because Mahomes had already proven himself at the highest level. They believed his results should matter more than a temporary offseason image. To them, a player's legacy should be measured by what happens between the lines. They pointed to the moments that made Mahomes famous: the comeback victories, the fourth-quarter performances, the ability to remain calm when the entire season was on the line. Those are the moments that define quarterback. But others looked at the situation differently. They argued that elite athletes, especially franchise quarterbacks, carry a responsibility to maintain the highest possible standard. In a league where preparation separates champions from everyone else, some fans believe every detail matters. This disagreement created a larger debate across the NFL community. What exactly should fans expect from professional athletes? Should a superstar quarterback be judged only by his performance on game day? Or does becoming the face of a franchise mean accepting criticism in every area of public life? The answer is not simple. The NFL is a unique sport because quarterbacks are not just players. They are leaders, representatives, and symbols of their organizations. A quarterback like Mahomes represents Kansas City every time he appears in public. His image has become connected to the identity of the Chiefs. But there is another important reality. Mahomes is also a person. Behind the helmet is someone who experiences pressure, celebrates family moments, and lives a life outside football. The same fans who celebrate his victories also have to recognize that even the greatest athletes need moments where they can simply be themselves. This situation also shows the impossible standard placed on modern sports stars. Fans want athletes to be relatable, but they also expect them to be perfect. They want players to show personality, but they criticize them when they do something unexpected. Mahomes has always embraced being different. His style of play changed the quarterback position. His creativity became his advantage. His confidence became part of his identity. Now, the same public attention that helped build his legend has created another challenge. Can Patrick Mahomes continue ignoring the noise and focus on what he does best? Because eventually, the off-season conversations will disappear. The cameras will return to the stadium. The lights will come back on. And when the ball is snapped, the only thing that matters will be whether Patrick Mahomes can once again do what he has done his entire career: find a way to win. Patrick Mahomes and the impossible standard of perfection. For most NFL players, success means earning a starting position, winning games, and proving they belong among the best. But for Patrick Mahomes, the definition of success has completely changed. He is no longer chasing respect, he is chasing history. And that difference explains why every small conversation around him becomes a major headline. When a young quarterback enters the NFL, fans usually give them time to grow. Mistakes are expected. Bad games are part of the process. But when a player reaches Mahomes' level, the rules suddenly change. The same people who once celebrated his rise begin searching for signs that he might be slowing down. That is the burden of becoming a superstar. The expectations surrounding Mahomes are not normal because his career has not been normal. From the moment he became the Chiefs' starting quarterback, he created moments that looked impossible. He turned broken plays into touchdowns. He escaped pressure that seemed impossible to avoid. He delivered performances that changed the direction of games in seconds. Because of that, fans now expect something almost unrealistic. Perfection. They expect him to always look prepared. They expect him to always dominate. They expect him to never have a weakness. But football does not work that way. Every great athlete experiences challenges. Every champion faces criticism. Every legend has moments where people question whether they can continue at the same level. The difference is how they respond. Throughout his career, Mahomes has shown that outside opinions rarely control his mindset. His confidence has always come from preparation and belief in himself. He has never needed every person to agree with him because he understands that results are the ultimate answer. This situation also highlights the unique pressure placed on quarterback. A quarterback is not just another player on the roster. The quarterback represents hope. When the team wins, they receive praise. When the team struggles, they receive blame. When expectations are high, every detail about them becomes part of the conversation. For Mahomes, that pressure is multiplied because he is leading one of the NFL's most successful organizations. The Kansas City Chiefs are no longer viewed as a team hoping to compete. They are viewed as a team expected to win championships. That expectation exists because Mahomes helped create it. The offseason criticism surrounding him may seem small compared to everything he has accomplished, but it reveals something important about fame in professional sports. The higher athletes climb, the more people analyze every move they make. A normal moment for one person becomes breaking news for someone like Patrick Mahomes. But perhaps the biggest lesson from this entire situation is that greatness has never been about avoiding criticism. Greatness is about responding when criticism arrives. The NFL has seen countless players who looked unstoppable for a short time. The difference between talented players and true legends is the ability to handle pressure, adjust, and continue improving. And that is exactly what makes the next chapter of Mahomes' career so interesting. Will this controversy become forgotten once he starts winning again? Will another incredible season silence the conversation? Or will this become another example of the impossible expectations placed on the biggest stars in football? The answer will come when the lights return, the stadium fills, and Patrick Mahomes steps onto the field once again. The Chiefs' dynasty and the weight of expectations. Patrick Mahomes did not just become the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. He became the person responsible for carrying an entire organization into a new era. That responsibility changes the way every moment is viewed. Before Mahomes, Chiefs fans experienced decades of hope, disappointment, and heartbreak. They had legendary players, unforgettable seasons, and talented teams. But the ultimate prize always remained out of reach. Then Mahomes changed the story. He arrived with a rare combination of talent, confidence, and creativity. He did not simply run an offense. He transformed it. His ability to make throws from unusual angles, extend plays under pressure, and remain calm during chaos turned him into one of the most exciting players the NFL had ever seen. But becoming the face of a dynasty comes with a different level of pressure. The moment a team starts winning championships, expectations stop being about success and start being about maintaining greatness. A player who once surprised everyone suddenly becomes someone who is expected to dominate every season. That is the challenge facing Mahomes. The Chiefs are no longer viewed as a team trying to prove they belong. They are viewed as the team everyone wants to defeat. Every opponent prepares differently when they face Kansas City because beating Mahomes has become a statement. And with that comes constant attention. When the Chiefs win, people analyze how Mahomes led them there. When the Chiefs lose, people search for what went wrong. When Mahomes has a quiet moment away from football, people still find something to discuss. This is the reality of becoming an icon. The criticism surrounding his offseason appearance is just another example of how the public treats athletes who reach the highest level. The more successful someone becomes, the more people believe they have the right to judge every aspect of their life. But there is a reason Mahomes has remained successful through all the pressure. He understands priorities. Football players know that championships are not won through public approval. They are won through preparation, teamwork, discipline, and execution. A quarterback cannot control every opinion. A quarterback cannot control every headline. A quarterback can only control what happens when the game begins. And that mindset has helped Mahomes throughout his career. Many great players have struggled after reaching the top because they became distracted by fame. They focus more on proving people wrong than improving themselves. Mahomes has usually taken a different approach. He lets his performance speak. His career has been built around responding on the field instead of arguing off it. Every time critics questioned him, he returned with another memorable performance. That is why this latest controversy may eventually become another small chapter in a much larger story. Because the real test for Mahomes is not whether people criticize him during the offseason. The real test is whether he can continue leading the Chiefs when the pressure is highest. Can he handle another season where every defense is prepared for him? Can he continue evolving as opponents study every move he makes? Can he keep adding to a legacy that is already being compared with some of football's greatest quarterbacks? Those are the questions that truly define Patrick Mahomes. Not a picture, not a social media debate, not an off-season conversation. The NFL remembers what happens under the stadium lights. And when Mahomes steps onto the field again, the world will be watching to see if the King of Kansas City is ready for another championship chase. The mental battle behind an NFL superstar, the physical challenges of football are obvious. Fans see the hits, the injuries, the collisions, and the intensity of every game. But for players like Patrick Mahomes, one of the biggest battles happens somewhere else. It happens in the mind. The pressure of being an NFL superstar creates a different type of challenge. Every season begins with expectations. Every game carries consequences. Every decision is analyzed by millions of people watching from around the world. For an average player, a mistake may disappear after a few days. For Patrick Mahomes, a mistake can become a national conversation. That is what happens when someone reaches the highest level of the sport. Mahomes has built a reputation as one of the most confident players in football. His personality, his creativity, and his fearless style are all part of what makes him special. But confidence does not mean pressure disappears. In fact, the higher someone climbs, the heavier the pressure becomes. Imagine being the quarterback of a team that is expected to compete for a championship every single year. Imagine knowing that every opponent spends an entire week designing a plan specifically to stop you. Imagine knowing that millions of fans believe anything less than a Super Bowl appearance is a disappointment. That is the world Patrick Mahomes lives in. The criticism surrounding his offseason appearance became another reminder of that reality. While some people viewed it as harmless discussion, others saw it as proof that superstar athletes are constantly evaluated beyond their actual performance. And this is where the mental side of greatness becomes important. Elite athletes learn how to separate meaningful criticism from unnecessary noise. They understand that not every opinion deserves a response. The ability to stay focused while the outside world creates distractions is one of the qualities that separates champions from everyone else. Mahomes has shown that ability throughout his career. He has played in hostile stadiums. He has faced defensive schemes designed to limit him. He has entered playoff games where one mistake could end an entire season. Yet time after time, he has remained calm in the biggest moments. That mental toughness is not something that appears overnight. It comes from years of preparation, experience, and learning how to handle pressure. But there is another side of the story. Superstars also need balance. Behind the helmet is a person with a family, personal goals, and a life away from football. The challenge is finding a way to remain committed to greatness while still maintaining a healthy perspective. Many athletes have struggled because they allowed outside expectations to completely control their lives. They chased perfection until the pressure became overwhelming. The greatest players understand something different. They understand that improvement matters more than perfection. Mahomes does not need to prove that he is a great quarterback. His career has already established that. The real challenge now is continuing to grow while carrying the expectations that come with being one of the faces of the NFL. This controversy may seem small, but it reveals a much larger truth about professional sports. The world loves champions, but it also watches them closely. The same success that creates admiration also creates pressure, and the question moving forward is whether Patrick Mahomes can continue using that pressure as motivation, just like he has done throughout his entire career. Because when the season begins, the conversation will change. The cameras will stop focusing on off-season opinion. The analysts will stop debating appearances. And everyone will return to the only question that truly matters. Can Patrick Mahomes lead the Kansas City Chiefs to another championship? The NFL world watches how Mahomes responds. Throughout NFL history, the greatest players have always faced moments where the entire football world waited for their response. Not because they failed, not because they lost, but because greatness creates expectations that few people can understand. Patrick Mahomes now finds himself in that position. Every move he makes is examined. Every statement is analyzed. Every off-season decision becomes part of a larger conversation because he is no longer just a quarterback trying to build a career. He is a player whose career is already being compared with legends, and that creates a unique challenge. The NFL has always been a league built around reactions. Players respond to criticism, teams respond to losses, coaches respond to pressure, but the greatest competitors understand that the most important response is not always made with words. Sometimes, it is made with performance. Mahomes has built his reputation around that idea. When critics questioned whether he could become an elite NFL quarterback, he responded by changing expectations. When opponents created defensive strategies designed to slow him down, he adapted. When pressure moments arrived, he often delivered the plays that defined his legacy. That is why many fans believe this latest controversy will not affect him. They have seen this story before. They have watched people doubt him. They have watched people question whether his style of football could succeed. And each time, Mahomes answered differently than expected. However, the situation also reveals something important about the relationship between athletes and fans. Supporters often believe they know what motivates their favorite players. But the reality is much more complicated. A player like Mahomes does not wake up every day thinking about social media comments. He cannot. If he allowed every opinion to affect him, he would never survive the pressure of being an NFL quarterback. Instead, elite players create their own standards. They focus on preparation. They focus on teammates. They focus on improvement. That mindset is what allows champions to remain successful even when the world is watching their every move. For the Kansas City Chiefs, this mentality is especially important. Their opponents are not just competing against a team anymore. They are competing against an identity. The Chiefs represent consistency. They represent championship expectations. They represent a quarterback who has proven he can change the outcome of a game with one possession. That reputation creates motivation for every team trying to defeat them. Every defensive coordinator wants to solve the Mahomes problem. Every rival quarterback wants the opportunity to outplay him. Every season becomes another challenge to prove that the Chiefs' success was not temporary. And for Mahomes, the biggest challenge may not be